Hi, this is TechNut. Welcome to the Tech News Hour. My sincere apologies for missing last week's show. The computer store I worked at for the last 15 years, CMG Computers Booval, has closed Friday permanently, and I've been transitioning everything over to be able to continue to provide existing customers computer repair services. This has taken 2 weeks. Anyway, on with tonight's show. Coming up, TikTok data breach, Kiwi farms blocked by Cloudflare, USB-C gets high, and Japan is still using floppy disks. All that and more coming right up on the Tech News Hour on Switch Brisbane, 11:97 AM, and we are in stereo on DAB. TikTok denies data breach after hackers leak user data. TikTok denies recent claims that it was breached and data source code and user data was stolen, telling Bleeping Computer that data posted to a hacking forum is completely up to the company. On Friday, a hacking group known as Against the West created a topic on a hacking forum claiming to have breached TikTok and WeChat. The users shared screenshots of an alleged database belonging to the companies, which they say was accessed on an Alibaba cloud instance containing data for both TikTok and WeChat users. But it's not just TikTok. Samsung also just had a data breach. Many popular services have reported data security breaches over the last 2 weeks, including LastPass, Plex, and even DoorDash. You can now add Samsung to that list, as the company just confirmed that some customer data was stolen. The company says the breach may have affected names, contact information, demographics, and date of births, along with product registration information. Now, these companies that have your data really should be looking after them better, but this also adds to the list of reasons why signing into third-party services is not really a good thing, because who knows, they only tell you when your data's been breached after it becomes public. This is TechNut with the Tech News Hour here on Switch Brisbane, 11:97 AM and DAB+. If that sound gave you nightmares, did you know floppy disks are still in use in Japan? Japan's digital minister has declared war on floppy disks, other retro tech used by the country's bureaucrats. Around 1,900 government procedures still require businesses to use the storage devices, burnt CDs, and also mini disks. You know, mini disks were a little disc that we used to have that were like a CD internally you could record music to. But there was a data variant of that, and it took no precedence anywhere in the world except in Japan, but they're still using it. Regulations would be updated to allow people to use online services. Despite its reputation for high-tech gadgetry, Japan is still notorious for clinging to outmoded technology through its official culture. Floppy disks, so called because the original products were bendable, were created in the late 1960s, but were falling out of fashion 3 decades later, thanks to more effective storage solutions. It takes more than 20,000 typical floppy disks to fill up an average 32GB USB stick, which you can now buy from Officeworks for $12. I have still used floppy disks as recently as about 5 years ago to do Norton Ghost to image hard drives, back when that was still able to be done. This is TechNut with the Tech News Hour here on Switch Brisbane, 11:97 AM and stereo DAB. Cloudflare has blocked Kiwi farms. Visitors to any of Kiwi farms sites that use any of Cloudflare's services have now been presented with a Cloudflare block page. Kiwi Farms is a, pardon the term, shitposting site but they have now been blocked by Cloudflare and have been told to move on. They're now being hosted in some Russian server, so that's not too much of an issue. Anyway, moving on. So USB-C, the connector that's used to charge a lot of modern mobile phones, including Apple soon. Anyway, USB's naming is somehow getting a lot worse with USB 4 2.0. Anyone on the internet who knows 4.2.0 and what it might mean can understand why people are a little bit concerned with the USB-C naming system. USB-C is a heck of a connector. It is so beloved that it's becoming mandatory among EU electronics, with other geographics considering moving to similar approaches, and even the resistant iPhone, as mentioned earlier, is reportedly considering using it. Not like they're going to have much of a choice in the EU, but anyway. Operating at 40 gigabit per second, it has greater bandwidth than USB-A, which is the old school square one, or other forms of USB. But that's assuming you're using the right type of USB-C. See, USB-C naming has already been dealt with a rebrand that only continues to add to confusion, and the next standard for the popular reversible connector type will further twist the plot, as that is USB's naming with a new, perplexing identity, USB 4 version 2.0. USB 4.2.0 will operate at up to 80 gigabits per second. The current USB 4 can operate at 40 gigabits, which is about half of that, but it can also max out at 20 gigabit depending on what connector you're using. And see, this is one of the biggest issues with USB-C and the USB naming conventions. The numbers, they have meaning, but they're so confusing that the old term, if it fits, it sits, doesn't always ring true. As long as it charges my phone, I'm good. This is TechNut with the Tech News Hour here on Switch Brisbane's 1197 AM and Stereo DAB. If you're hoping to buy a Zen 4 powered Ryzen 7000 CPU on day one, there's some really good news. AMD expects to have plenty of supplies on launch day, September 27th. During Monday's official event for the CPUs, AMD CEO Lisa Su briefly talked to journalists about her company's efforts to improve its chip supplies during the upcoming product lifecycle. From an AMD standpoint, she says, we have dramatically increased our overall capacity in terms of wafers. They're the flat disks that CPUs are made from, in the same fashion as printing a photograph, as well as the substrates and on the back end. So with our launch of Zen 4, we don't expect any supply constraints. The company also decided to sell the CPUs a month from now, rather than releasing them immediately, to help retailers build up product inventory, something that seems to be lacking in recent times with the rush to get everything out the door as immediately as possible, even if it disappoints the customers at the end game. The CPUs offer better than Intel prices. They're on average of $100 to $150 cheaper, like for like. That's really good news. Also, some of these Zen 4 chips will be available on the older AM4 platform or the AM4 socket, or users of the older boards. Anyway, this is TechNut with the Tech News Hour. I thank you for joining me tonight. I hope next week comes along just as good as this one, and we'll catch you here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel here on Switch Brisbane's 1197 AM, and we are in stereo on DAB. You can also stream us on your smart speaker. Just ask Google. Thanks for listening. Good night.